Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And as always, we have three brand new decks for you, including one absolute world exclusive that you cannot get anywhere else. This deck is in the top 25 of the Infinite Leaderboard, and it is absolutely sick. But we're going to kick it off with a Jet deck. Yep, you guessed it the second you saw Phoenix Force, even if you didn't see the name right. This is a Jet deck, and it is probably my favorite Joaquin Torres deck, Joaquin Torres Falcon deck that I have played since the card's release. Period. I played this on stream for not that many games, and the win rate on this isn't going to be through the roof, but the cube rate's really great because if you want a deck that looks weird and gets opponents snapping on you, and then you can come back and do some really cool things, this is going to be the list for you. You can find Jet streaming this list at twitch.tv/Jet13. This deck needs Victoria Hand, Misery, Swan, and Torres Falcon. If you don't have Torres Falcon, no problem. The next deck doesn't have him, I promise. Phoenix Force and Nico are not needed. In fact, if your name is not Jet, I'm going to tell you a secret. You can cut Phoenix Force for Grandmaster. Don't worry about it. Phoenix Force isn't actually important here. Nico is fairly important, but you can run Grandmaster, Negasonic, Rogue, Frigga, Beast, or Toxin. Any cards along those lines, Red Guardian, all that stuff is totally fine in that spot. If you're missing Iron Patriot, you can run Mirage, although Iron Patriot is, in fact, very, very good in this list. One of the best things, and we're going to see this in the next list too, that you can do in order to get your Iron Patriot to trigger is you can play your Iron Patriot and Demon on turn 3 and on top of that hood, and then if you Misery them on turn 4, you've just got a 15 power lane. That's really, really hard to beat at that point in the game. So yeah, go that way if you would like to win your Iron Patriot lanes. Again, that card was incredible, so I really, really hope most of you bought it. It's probably the best 2-drop in Marvel Snap. Jet climbed to top 20 with this after not being there. Turn 1, you want Nico if copy or draw 2. You will happily copy an Iron Patriot here. You will draw 2 off the Hood or off Iceman. You will draw 2 off Falcon. You don't really want to, but you're fine doing it as well if that's the case. Iceman is your generic play, and you play Hood if you have Misery in hand. If you don't have Misery in hand, you're probably going to try and save Hood to play after Falcon, because the main win condition of this deck is play a crap ton of demons. Turn 2 is Iron Patriot over Black Swan. Generally speaking, you want Iron Patriot on 2 and Black Swan on 4. That tends to work out best, at least in my experience. Turn 3 is JT Falcon. If you have JT Falcon and you have the Hood, you should be able to win the game. If you have JT Falcon, you have the Hood, you are way, way ahead. Now, if you can get 2 Rocket Raccoons on JT Falcon, that is also going to be a chance for a win. That's going to require Falcon. That's when that card is a snap condition. If it doesn't have any of that stuff, it's much less of a powerful card. But if you can pull that off, it's going to be really great for you. Your other play, obviously, you can still do the turn 2 stuff. You can also play Victoria Hand and a 1-drop, or Iron Patriot and 1-drop, Swan and 1-drop, etc. Turn 4, this is your last Black Swan chance. If you have Black Swan and you have Misery and Falcon, you can snap. You should be able to get enough power out that you should be really, really effective. And remember, you can be a little patient. The opponents are going to snap you fairly often here. You can also play Falcon or Misery on you can play the last Black Swan with a 1 on Falcon, or you can play your regular Falcon, your classic Sam Wilson Falcon, with or Misery on Hood. Cool. So Swan goes with a 1-drop or Falcon, or you can play Misery on that earlier played Hood. Any of that works. Remember that Misery on Hood remains a fairly good snap condition, especially if you're getting an Iron Patriot trigger off of that and getting a second Iron Patriot. If they're going to try and beat that 15 you have in that lane on turn 5, more power to them. You already got a free cheap card that you could use to win that first lane. You're just way, way ahead at that point. Turn 5, you want Hood and Misery. So if you haven't played Hood yet, you drop Hood and Misery straight up that turn. You can also drop Misery on a pile of 1s. Don't hesitate, as long as it's not Rocket Raccoon, to play your Misery on Falcon. Just getting a million Iceman triggers that way is perfectly fine. Getting a 4 demons is one of your main win conditions. Don't forget to trigger Swan. Turn 6, Stronger Hand, and then the free demons, and you should be good from there. You don't really want to snap after turn 5, right? That's boomer snapping. It tends to lead smarter players to run away. But if you're very sure that like they're sitting there with Shang bait and there's nothing they can really do to stop that, and you've got enough extra stuff to win, then you can snap at the end of turn 5. It's fine. The opponent might feel strong enough to overcome it. Just be ready to read the board. You're going to need to make sure that you have a crap ton of demons. I thought at first that Mobius was going to be really problematic for this deck, and it's not ideal, right? But if you just play 4 demons and Victoria Hand on the last turn of the game, that is 8 times 4. That's, by the way, 32. So that is 8 times 4 plus 3, so 35 power on the last turn of the game is pretty good at winning, and it usually buffs something else on the board too. One last look at this one from Jet. Really, really cool list. Once more, Phoenix Force is here because Jet puts Phoenix Force in everything, not because it's a requirement. Outside of that, this list is really cool. You are going to lose a fair amount of games if you just draw things in the wrong order, run for one, snap effectively, and get extra cubes as your opponents make mistakes. Going, what is this jank? And you put up crazy power with like 35 power last turns while the opponent cannot possibly be ready for that. That is how you win with this list. We're going to talk about the return of Werewolf by Night in a top 20 exclusive list right after I ask you to hit that sub button. The bottom right hand corner of the screen has a little red button. The little red YouTube looking button is how you sub. If you hit that, you're subbed. In exchange, we will give you at least 7 days a week of Marvel Snap videos. This week, we will be doing 9 videos. The second video comes out later today with the OTA, so please make sure you hit that sub button so you don't miss out on that extra content on all the best decks that you can't get anywhere else. Hit that sub, join the, I don't know, 17,000, almost 18,000 other people that have hit that button and are getting better at Marvel Snap by subscribing here. We also give away a season pass every single week and then 5 the first week of the season. So we're giving away a Sam Wilson Captain America right now. All you have to do is sub, like, and then later this video, I'm going to ask you to leave a comment. When you leave that comment, you're entered to win this week's Sam Wilson Captain America. Nice and simple. All right, next up we have Burrs Wereclog. So you might recognize the name of Burrs before we get to the deck. Burrs is a player who finished in the top 5 of the Infinite Leaderboard 2 seasons ago and the top 10 last season. But no one knew Burrs. I asked all the European players. He's on the European server. Everyone was like, I don't know Burrs. I don't know Burrs. So in a recent video, I was like, hey, Burrs, reach out. Turns out Burrs watches the video. So that was convenient. So Burrs and I have been chatting. The deck he's been climbing with this season, and he's climbed into about the top 15. He's currently sitting around the top 25. He hasn't been on all day. You lose rank. Rank doesn't decay, but other people gain more snap points when you don't play. So you go down a little bit. But he's been playing this list, and this list is absolutely incredible. It's it's got 10 million ways to win, and it's very, very, very cool. I cannot urge you to give this one a try enough should you have Werewolf by Night and the other required cards. This is, again, a top meta player in each of the last 2 seasons, and a completely secret exclusive deck that you can't get anywhere else. This deck needs Werewolf by Night, Kate Bishop, Misery, and Sage. Those 4 are non-negotiables. Misery, I took heat. But like when Misery first came out, I was like, don't buy it, don't buy it. And then right at the end, I was like, you know what? I think we're actually going to need to buy this. This is finding too many homes. It's going to keep finding homes. And here we are months later with Misery in a ton of meta decks. Misery is just a really, really good card. 4/8's a lot of stats, y'all. Plus the ability is obviously great. White Widow can be Green Goblin. You can also add, if you do make that change though, add Ravonna for armor. Widow and Armor are here as a combo. They're also here as a combo in particular to really, really mess with Mill, because otherwise beating Mill can be very hard for this list. But if you have Armor and White Widow, all of a sudden that matchup gets a lot more tenable. All right, so let's go card by card. Hood is the key card to this deck. Once more, Hood is one of the best cards in the game. I cannot believe this hasn't been nerfed. It wouldn't shock me if this ended up nerfed by the end of the day, to be perfectly honest, in the OTA later today, because this card is in a million decks with a million combinations. It has that Iron Patriot combo. The Iron Patriot combo is the main thing you would really like to do with the Hood here, right? Like you would like to play Hood and around 2, then Iron Patriot and Demon on 3, then you want to Misery that in turn 4, and then you have just an extra Demon and an extra cheap thing from Iron Patriot, and you're going to town. If you can pull that off, you're in absolute amazing shape. Hood also has amazing synergy with Viper. You can Viper that Hood over without any real trouble, and you can get away with winning games that way. Titania is sort of your backup clog heart here. The Titania combo is really with White Widow here on an armor. Oh my god, I used Green Goblin as a replacement. I'm so silly. Your replacement would be the name of the card now escapes me. But I should have been saying, and I meant to say this, but yikes. We're not redoing this. What I meant to say was Dr. Octopus. I was messing with this deck in my deck builder, and I got the versions I was playing with confused with the original version. Please excuse me. All right, Titania is your backup clog card. On turn 4 with Green Goblin or with Viper on like a debris card. This is a card that all but guarantees a clogged lane. You're not running Cannonball or anything else to win that clogged lane. You've just got a nice simple Sage, but Titania does allow you that nice easy win in Marvel Snap, and that's obviously extremely powerful. White Widow has two uses. Obviously, there's the armor use, right? You play White Widow, and then your armor is going to make sure that Widow's Kiss doesn't go anywhere. That's very strong. The other real use for White Widow is you can play it around turn 5 in a place that your opponent's not really going for, and now they have a problem, right? That lane you can win with minimal commitment because you just played a 2/6 there, and now one of their spots is taken up, and they can't really do anything with it until the end of the game. Next up, armor. Armor is here largely for White Widow. It doesn't really have much other use. It's pretty good because Killmonger is in and out of the meta. Opponent miseries are in and out of the meta, and you can use armor to really mess those up. And you can tell the opponent setting up that lane, you drop an armor on it, they're often in a lot of trouble. And then they're really, really vulnerable to any Viper shenanigans you can pull off. So armor's really solid here. Not amazing, but really solid. Iron Patriot is one of the key high series cards here. One of your main goals, you're basically trying to win by getting two cheap Iron Patriot cards and clogging. If you have two cheap 4, 5, 6 cards, and then they don't have any space on the board, you're usually able to win. Iron Patriot is the best 2-drop in the game, but usually he's just filler. In this deck, he's so much more. Kate Bishop is here largely because of Acid Arrow. Acid Arrow is incredible, and just having an extra arrow is also really nice for Werewolf. That gives you 1-drops along with the hood that can move your Werewolf by night, and that's very powerful. Green Goblin is amazing. It moves the werewolf. It takes up a space. It's incredible with Titania. It's really, really good as Clog. Green Goblin's great. I don't know what else to say. In a Clog deck, Green Goblin is a must-have. And let's take the last two Clog pieces now before we go to the other stuff. Debris is incredible. Your general Debris turn is around turn 5. Debris is trying very hard to make it so the opponent can't do anything. One of the other ways to win, though, is if you go Iron Patriot and you know that they're going to play a bunch of cards there, you can end up debrising that lane relatively shut, especially with your like other clog cards, and that's really good. You can also, if they're ignoring your Iron Patriot, you can debris on top of Iron Patriot, and then you can misery that and put rocks all over the board, locking them out of the game. Debris is the most is the clog card that takes up the most space on the board and is very, very frustrating as a result. Viper says Hood and rocks aren't a problem. You want an extra way to deal with Hood outside of misery, and Viper gives you that while also giving you a way to get rid of rocks, while also giving you a card that plays amazingly with Titania or White Widow or whatever else. Viper is just incredible. She really ties this deck entirely together. Now, let's go back to Sage and Werewolf. Sage and Werewolf are your power cards. Sage is a last turn play. You Sage a lane that will get you back to Tanya, or you Sage a lane to pull Werewolf to it, and then you can pull Werewolf away. You'll be able to get enough power that way if the lane is clogged. That Sage is just so, so, so strong in a clogged lane that she's often a free win. Werewolf is a backup plan for this deck. I know I said this thumbnail says Werewolf is back. Werewolf is very good in this list, but he is not a requirement. He is not your priority. Your priorities are Iron Patriot and Clog. If you drop Werewolf on turn 4 with a hood, that's perfectly fine. You'll get that first move, and then you can do something like Viper that hood over, or you can play Misery on that hood next turn while playing another card to move that Werewolf elsewhere, or you can Viper that over and then play White Widow another location, that kind of thing, and that should be enough power. You don't need the hugest Werewolf in the world, but Werewolf easily becomes a 3/10-ish in this deck, and that's plenty good to win lanes. And finally, Misery is incredible. Getting extra hoods is amazing. Under an armor, getting an extra White Widow is utterly absurd. That's just crazy, crazy power. There's a lot to like about this card. It protects you from opponent clog. It is one of the best cards in this type of deck and is a must own. All right, so this is flying up the leaderboards in the high 60s in terms of win rate. So this is absolutely crushing right now, but it is not an easy deck to play. This is a technical deck, so please pay attention. Turn 1, you are only playing Hood if Iron Patriot is in hand, otherwise you are passing. Don't play Titania, don't play Hood without Iron Patriot. You are only playing it with Iron Patriot in hand. You can hold it otherwise for Misery or Viper later as a more surprise play. Turn 2, Hood, again, is generally speaking the play. You play Kate if you don't have Iron Patriot. If you do have Iron Patriot, you can't do the combo. You're not going to get the second Iron Patriot card. You're just going to run out of hand space. Don't do it. Hood, Kate, only if no Iron Patriot. You can also just drop Iron Patriot here, but at that point you want to be relatively sure that you have a Debris to follow it up with, a Debris/Goblin to follow it up with. You want Widow if armor and no Iron Patriot is pretty good. And then, yeah, Iron Patriot we talked about. Turn 3, Demon and Iron Patriot on Hood if you have Misery. That is a snap condition. That gives you almost always 2 discounted Iron Patriot cards, which is absurdly strong. I'm assuming the first card is remotely playable, right? That's a snap condition. If you can go Demon and Iron Patriot on Hood, that's going to look like you have just 6 power there, but then you're going to Misery that lane, and you're going to have that 6 plus that 3. And sorry, you're going to have that 6 plus that 8, and then you're going to have 13 power there, and you can play anything else there you want at that point, and you can start going to town. You can play Werewolf if it's safe, if you played that White Widow, for example, and you have space. If you've got a way to play Iron Patriot and not have it immediately get Red Guardian, or you're sure your opponent's not Red Guardian, you can play that. You can also drop Debris on or around Iron Patriot / Green Goblin on or around Iron Patriot. Turn 4, you want Misery on the Debris or Iron Patriot, or you can play Hood. You can play the Misery on Debris Iron Patriot or the Hood Iron Patriot. Sorry, this deck is very complicated. You can Viper or White Widow and Hood / Green Goblin and Titania, or you can play Armor and White Widow just together. You want to basically either build your hand with the Iron Patriot combos, right, or the Hood combos, or you want to clog. Turn 5, you want White Widow or Kate and Debris, and if you can Debris and you're sure you can clog a lane, you can snap in advance as long as you don't have priority. So if you've thrown priority into turn 5, you can then snap on that Debris. That is your other snap condition if it is clogging. Basically, as soon as you've clogged a lane, you can usually figure out a way to win another, and we are talking clog time. Turn 6, Sage, Demons, and an arrow as necessary to move that Werewolf. And then you probably won, right? Like if you can play Sage, 2 Demons, and an arrow, and you're moving Werewolf for the Sage and the arrow, you've put up too much power for opponents to deal with. Again, this deck is incredibly hard to play. It's going to take a lot of practice, but if you're willing to put the practice in, this is a top-notch deck. It's got amazing matches into the meta. It will struggle with, I guess, like move and move bounce, but even then, if you can get the clog going, there's a lot that they can't do and they can't deal with it. This is a very strong list with very few rough matches built specifically for this meta. Thank you, Burrs, for sharing it. I hope you enjoyed this exclusive list, and we are going to move on to asking you to check me out on stream. I should be streaming sometime between 8:30 and 9 p.m. tonight, right after I get home from seeing Sam Wilson Captain America. We're going to be talking to some great Marvel Snap players, including Dare and Ika. Well, we're going to be talking to Dare and Ika about the new data mines and the new OTA. Don't forget that the OTA video will come out later today too, right here on this YouTube. But the stream tonight of the podcast is only on Twitch. Make sure you're there. All right. Our season pass question. I like to do this now, where I don't write the question, I tell it to you instead. What value do you find in off-meta decks? Are you more successful with decks that everyone's playing, like the popular decks, or are you more successful with surprise decks that people aren't ready for? What do you think you do better with personally? Don't forget to check out tonight's stream. Top player thoughts for Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, TTR. Roram says this seems decent, but a 12th or 13th card and usually cut. Racco says I can't tell if he's bad or there's just too much Wiccan. Remember, he draws off opponents missing energy, and Wiccan decks don't really miss energy. Ekmati says kind of meh, a 2-2 needs a powerful effect, and this isn't powerful enough. I really like that take. That's kind of where I am. Derek says seems mediocre, doesn't move the needle on much of anything. Abra says unnecessary, weak against midrange. Crime Afoot says a good skip, but does a good job in inserted lists. Sizer says cool in high evo. That's the list I shared yesterday. Cougar agreed, by the way. He was also like, that list, that evolutionary list almost makes it good. Fine, but unimpressive. I did like him in that high evo. Toxic Soul King says middest of mid cards. Safety Blade says super narrow, not very good, only for Surtur. W says seems like a waste of a spot. Scott Denham says feels unnecessary. And Butt says ass. Goes in boring decks. No one's actually positive on this card. Please don't get it, at least as of right now. Remember, we will be back later with more reviews of this, but for the time being, don't get Thunderbolt Ross. All right, Rage meets Wade. I kept getting messages about this all day. I was going to review it, friends. This is a very good value bundle. I don't know what else to say. It's 204.9, so 205% value. That is above the buy threshold, which you usually put at 200%. Remember, a perfectly average bundle for cash is usually about 172%. Being 25% above that is very good. We occasionally see like 220, 230% bundles. Those are great buys. This is a very good buy. If you don't own Red Hulk, just go buy this immediately, right? You should absolutely get Red Hulk for this much value. But if you do own Red Hulk, then this is just a good buy. What would determine it for me, if I was deciding to buy this and I owned Red Hulk, was, do I have enough gold for both the two things that we know are coming, the Anti-Venom bundle, which we'll talk about more later this video, and the refreshes for the Sanctum Sanatorum, no, Sanctum Showdown. So we need to have enough gold for Sanctum Showdown and enough for the and have enough in the process to still get that anti-venom bundle. If we need to do both, then I think that getting this 3,000 gold and then getting 4,000 collector's token, 3,000 credits on top of it is a really great value. If I have plenty of gold, if I'm swimming in gold, unless I have an immediate use for the tokens, and if I own Red Hulk, I'm not getting it. That's where I would land on this bundle. Still pretty damn good value, and a really, really cool Red Hulk variant, I think. All right, next up we have Gregor2424's Wick going. He hit infinite with this, and this is a really, really cool list. I just wanted to take a moment to shout out one of our homies who's going for a Twitch partner and has this very cool list that no one's really talking about. It's also a really great list in the current hot location. You can find Gregor at twitch.tv/Gregor2424. This deck needs Wiccan, Galacta, and Sam Wilson. Zabu can be Psylocke. You don't lose too much that way. Iron Patriot can be Cable. Again, not losing too much. Speed can be Punisher. That's a loss, but acceptable. And Kate can be only Penny, which is sort of rough as a replacement. So Gregor's absolutely rocked with this. Turn 1, you want Zabu over Quicksilver. I don't know why I said sounds bad. Zabu over Quicksilver. Turn 2, you want Kate, if no 3, over Sam over Iron Patriot. If you can trigger Wiccan Snap, generally speaking, if you're playing a Wiccan list and you can get your Wiccan triggered, you probably want to be snapping. That is your snap condition. You're not going to win every game that you see Wiccan on curve, but if you do see Wiccan on curve, then you are favored enough that you should be snapping. You'll lose some, but you should be way, way ahead just by like being aggressive when you do see that combo. Turn 3, Wiccan or Galacta. If you see Galacta on 3, snap. You don't necessarily have to snap on Galacta on 3, but you on 4, but you should definitely snap on Galacta on 3 because at that point she's not only did you play a 4/6 on turn 3, but she's going to represent 15 power for 3 15s at that point are pretty damn good. That's better than Iron Patron in 1, or you can just drop Speed, or you can drop Cap and Cosmo. Turn 4, you want Wiccan over Galacta over 2/2s. You have plenty of 2s in the list. Sometimes you're going to drop them there. Turn 5, Galacta after Wiccan and a 3, or Galacta and a 1 if you can, because that's what the extra 1 is here for, besides that Zabu is so good. If no Wiccan, you're just going to play a 2 and a 3. This is a very good Speed or Captain America, Steve Rogers turn. And then turn 6 is Spectrum and a 2 if you can. If not, you're going to play Cosmo or Enchantress with whatever else you can, and you should be totally fine there. If you can play like a Cosmo and a Cap there, you're fine. If you can play an Enchantress that wins a lane with a Kate or a Sam, you should be fine. So that is your goal to end the game, and you should have enough power to really pull things together. If you are in Surtur Hell, Enchantress may want to be Shang-Chi in your version of this list. Pick your poison. There is no right or wrong answer there. It is in your pocket meta, but this is a very strong list and a very cool one. I haven't really seen Wiccan in ongoing much, so I wanted to make sure I gave this really cool list a shout out. If you're interested in seeing gameplay from all these decks, I won't be streaming games tonight, but the stream team will. It's Thursday, so the King of Canada will be streaming at 12 p.m. Eastern. Questions of the day. Our first is from Neil007 with the Anti-Venom bundle at 5k. It used to be 4,500. They made it 500 extra gold. Is it better to spend on Sanctum Showdown? So I think it fundamentally depends on how close to complete you are. And we don't know exactly what Sanctum Showdown's costs are, right? And depends how much you're going to play. If you can get all 4 cards for that extra Anti-Venom money, I think it's probably worth saving for Sanctum Showdown. But Anti-Venom guarantees you 1 Series 5 card, and it gives you the tokens for a Series 4 card. You should be able to get 2 of the cards for free, right? 2 of the random Series 4, Series 5 unknown cards on Sanctum Showdown for free. So that's going to leave 2 more. If Anti-Venom is one of those, you'd be thrilled, right? And then you get a Series 4 in the other spot, but that 3,000, I think I'd probably, and you get the extra credits from the Anti-Venom, I think I would probably lean toward buying the Anti-Venom bundle. But please note, I've been telling you to save gold basically since Sanctum Showdown was announced for literally this reason. I figured that we would need as much gold as possible. Also, the gold trick, if you're close to enough gold and you need to get over the hump, the gold pass is the second best value in the game after the season pass. And in some ways, it's close. It's not like close because, Series 5 card. But like outside of that, it's pretty close just because it gives you so freaking much gold. If you buy extra gold passes, it doesn't it doesn't like give you double gold each day, but what it does is it extends your gold pass out further, but you still get the like 300 gold immediately that you get for buying the gold pass each time. So if you just need like 600 extra gold or something, buy 2 gold passes. You'll have 2 months of gold pass, right? Which is way better gold value than anything else you can do. And then you're at the 5,000 gold you would like to be. Get it? Cool. Caretixley says there currently no way to control a 3 energy ramp on turn 2, which I believe is one of the main reasons balancing 3 cost cards, especially tech cards, is increasingly difficult and often hard to justify playing in decks as such. Do you have any suggestions for a card ability or mechanic that could introduce that, or do you think 3 cost cards would be too dangerous to ramp into? I don't know if I want to ramp into every cost slot. Um, I don't know. That's fundamentally my answer. I think that ramp is dangerous and has to be done very, very carefully. I honestly wish that like Psylocke didn't exist and that Zabu was the only real way to ramp into fours. I think if you had to run Zabu or Ravona for like negative slash doom stuff, the game would be in a healthier place. I don't know if I want to introduce more different ways to do that right now, especially so maybe if it was just ramp, like a one that lets you play a 3 next turn, I could live with. I don't love it, but I could live with it. The problem is we are getting a 3/10, right? We don't really want 10s coming down on turn 2 as a general rule. We don't want gladiators coming down on turn 2 as a general rule. So I don't know. I don't know if it's easy to balance in a way. Like it's we see the real problem with fours is very often that fours that get played on turn 3. I don't think we want to introduce that element of trouble um to 3 drops also. It would be very unsurprising to me, however, if in time they didn't just say, okay, here's that card that ramps you into 3 drops. But I'm not looking forward to it. I don't really want that. Certain tier support on our Patreon come with honor. Thanks. Let's say thank you to first Ocularis, our patron of the month. Abigail Giesland, the OG. Manager Burnout, Sup Burnout, my alliance leader. It regardless, it is a word. LAB, always kind. Ink, the graphite fan. I am Frostman. You sure are. Hota Neverete. Thinking Poker of the Thinking Poker podcast. Primed Ryan of the Prime Mind podcast, who's sponsoring Snap Judgments League Season 5. Go check out that uh, the app. I'm losing it today, man. I'm tired. Ryan Burke of Burke Avenue fame. Ryan Wood, our own Woody. Caretix Lee, the King of Questions. You just saw one. Koirei, coming all the way from Japan. Kazushi. What's up, Kazushi? Hung out with me. Won a season pass this month. Archangel 3K, who finally made another stream. Welcome back, Archangel. All the case. Black Dahlia, another one of our wonderful alliance leaders. Pyrofros, yay, more alliance leaders. Goat Seeker, alliance leaders. Hallowed, great conversation earlier. Nightmare, our newest patron. Welcome, Nightmare. Only Fox, hopefully you're doing well, Fox. Haven't seen you in a few days. Hope you're doing well. Synth, who rules. Hi, Synth, my favorite mod. Fat Nick, Dirty Casual, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philip Brakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, Exorcian, Skippy G, Rhyming Friends, Jessica Gamble, Slush Death, King of Bros, Bro, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kepsi Hoda, Lunacris, Clam, Colonel Forbin, Rob Silverman, M. Holland, David G. Wingfield, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan Spartan, Jason B., Mr. Craig Sterry, I'm so used to saying BG after Mr. Craig Sterry, Matt V, Ren Wrench, Corwin, Junq, and Jimmy McHugh, Keep Down, Gist Out, 8th Sage, One Big Man, Milkman for Reals, Cactus Jack, what's up, Cactus? Thanks for coming to stream. BG, Quid Pro Joe, Snap Decisions Joe, Mod Supreme Models, my favorite Osborne Green Goblin, who confused me earlier, Yonabot, Flan56, The Fuzzy Dunlop, Spectrumix, Hoot, MBTB Shannon, Matt H, DJ Mikey Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Nick, Duh, Greek Geek, Zodrex, the King of Canada, check him out on stream later today, Ten Man Falcon, Fothor Newman, Jonesy, Two Ties, The Great Lordez, The Pirate King Tucker, and of course getting T where the T stands for peace, peace out. I will see you later today because I got a 2 video day for you where I'm going to talk about the OTA. See you then.